Okay, so my name is Ashima and I would be teaching your kids. So I'm going to give you an insight as to what are you looking at in the language of English. So we cater to three components. You have comprehensions, which involve fiction and non-fiction passages. Then you have grammar, and then you have the most important component, that's creative writing. So what happens is we'll go step by step. Comprehensions involve anything that the child has to read, understand, and answer. So we train them in different elements where your comprehensions are concerned. For example, one is, of course, they're used to the easier answers which we can just copy and paste. But unfortunately, as we grow older, it doesn't get as easy as that. So we work on framing answers. We work on answering as per your opinion. We work on enhancing an answer. By enhancing, I mean how can you improve it if you apply what you're learning in class. So just to give you an example over here, say this is a passage we've done in class, okay? So whenever we're doing a comprehension, the answers are discussed in class, so everyone is able to give their inputs as to how can he or she answer a particular question. We mark the answers in the passage, and if there's an answer which needs to be framed, the kids write FR. If they write FRQ, it means it has to be framed with the help of the question. So these are certain techniques we follow in class. Now, for example, this is a story about a boy who meets an alien. So over here, if you see, like when we are doing different types of questions, like how do you know there was something strange? Now, this was more of a direct answer, which only involved joining two sentences together. So if you see, the child has cancelled the punctuation mark and put a conjunction over here so that it would be easier for the child to understand, okay, how to go about framing. The next part over here, it's written, it's something which is asking the child's opinion, but it's pretty much from the passage. It is mentioned that Alan rubbed his eyes and stared. Why do you think so? So basically he comes across a spaceship and then an alien, so that's the reason why he does this action. Now if you see, we've underlined why do you think so, because we are taught that whenever you're asked to give something from your thought process, we use this phrase, I am of the opinion. So that's when they underline, because whenever we come across these questions, this pattern is like fixed, then they follow it. Now if you see, the only answer over here was, because he saw a spaceship. But what this child has done is, this child has enhanced the answer by adding even this element, aghast. So this is something we pick up in the vocabulary when we're learning in class. So basically she combined two elements here, and she spoke about because he was aghast to see a spaceship. Now, the next part that I'm showing you from this comprehension is completely from your child's opinion. So this alien comes, they visit the city, he tries to eat a potato, the alien takes him to his planet, and then he comes to know that his parents are upset, and then the alien gets him back. That's the gist of the story. So they were asked to explain in their own thought process that what was so strange and unusual about the dream. So this girl has picked up her three elements, that he dreams about an alien, he wandered around the city with him, and he visited his planet. Somebody else spoke about the alien was talking, and then they ate different kinds of food, and then they went to a planet, the planet was blue. So everyone had their own interpretations about how to go about with this. So in English we try that each child blossoms, rather than you can't mug a pattern and then keep throwing that mug pattern, because then you won't be able to play or toy with the idea that the kids have. So that's how we work about where creative writing is concerned. Next in, we have grammar. Now grammar is really a wide array of topics. When we are doing something pertaining to grammar, it's we immediately associate it with the creative writing. So for example, say if I am doing my topic of nouns, and say I'm doing collective nouns, just an example. So what happens normally is our brain is very compartmentalized. We structure things that, okay, if they ask me, if you only ask the child that, okay, give me a dash of birds, so the child will say, okay, a flock of birds. But then if we train them that if you know that, okay, a group of birds is called flock, then why can't we even add that when I'm writing a composition or a story, you know? So if your character is stepping out of the house, going for a picnic also, you know, why can't we introduce even that element when you're writing the story, that there was a flock of birds in the sky? So when we are doing grammar, it's not only from a grammatical point of view, we'll associate it with what if it's in creative writing, that will make your sentence better. So this is something which is not tapped. You know what happens is, we know ki this has to be done only when this is asked, this has to be done only when this is asked, but English should be as such that in anything I should be able to apply it. So even if I know my collective nouns, but if I have to write about a zoo, I'm just going to say I saw lions and I saw birds, I saw. Why can't I apply that over there? Because you're seeing a group of animals, not that you're seeing one animal. So just when we are doing these grammar topics, we also associate them with creative writing, you know. And of course, grammar is done in the form of worksheets. They are given a file, and we do even conjunctions. So, for example, they are like, for over here in her comprehension, she could have written because, but they know that okay, because, as, since, they are all three options for conjunctions. So obviously, to save, the easy way out is always as. So each one has replaced it with a conjunction that he or she finds appropriate to write. So all the grammar is done in the form of worksheet. It's given to them in the class. Once a grammar topic is explained, whatever they're doing in their worksheet is their input. I am not helping them in the worksheet. So tomorrow, if the worksheet is not completely finished, please don't panic. It's what the child has done by themselves in that, because I don't want to help them. If something is wrong, I can explain why it's wrong. That's learning. But if something is blank and I'm just providing you an answer, that's not learning. That's, then I don't want them to be dependent. So we always encourage them that whatever, from what you've understood, apply that. And if that application is wrong, that's where I step in. Then I can show them that no, it's not like this, it's like that. So at least they understand, okay, I had got this wrong and how I can correct it, rather than just spoon feeding things to them. Okay, now going further, is the most important thing is creative writing. Now, creative writing is anything that the child has to think and write. So, creative writing is also divided into two parts. We have fiction and non-fiction. So, what do we cover where creative writing is concerned? A, we do vocabulary. Vocabulary is just learning new words of some basic words that you know. B are styles of writing. By styles of writing, I mean similes and I mean idioms. So they are taught these concepts in the class. They are taught how they can apply it. So a simile is when I'm comparing two things. If the drink is cold, I can say the drink is as cold as ice. Idioms are phrases. So if it is raining heavily, it is raining cats and dogs. At the end, when they learn this, what happens is the children develop their own power to change something as per their wish. This is a very simple sentence, that Rohan is happy because he scored good marks. Now comes to the child what he or she wants to explore this as. If the child just wants to use a vocabulary, then Rohan is elated in place of happy as he scored glorious marks. That's in place of good. But if you want to push yourself one step ahead, Rohan is as elated as a lark. That's a simile for happy, as he scored splendid marks. If you want to push yourself another way ahead, Rohan is on cloud nine, that's idiom, as he passed his exams with flying colors. So my point is that when you're learning different styles, the ultimate choice goes to the child. What do you want to explore? If the child is comfortable with vocabulary, then they are encouraged, push yourself further and try a simile. So we can have a vocabulary also, we can have a simile also. If the child is done with the simile, then push yourself further. Try to balance a idiom, try to balance a vocabulary, try to balance a simile. So this way, the child is learning how to apply on their own. Now, how does this learning happen? So I'm showing you how we go about. Like for example, as when we do collective nouns, we create a mini text about how we can use those collective nouns in our. So they're talking about a football match. So everything that we do in class is based on watching a video. So what happens is we play with the senses. You know what you can see, what you can smell, what you can hear, what you can taste. So if I'm showing a football match, The first thing that normally all videos start with, they'll show you the sky and then the field and then the players. So we follow that pattern. What can you see and what is one thing leading to the other. When we are writing a text, I wish. No problem. So once we are writing a text, for example, you can see like that, it was a glorious or splendid means lovely day. Just to give you a gist. They are taught how they can make a dictionary. This is how we make a dictionary. The bracket word first, the new word second. So this is done in class. So they write the easy word and they write the new word next to it. The first dictionary is where I guide them. Now they are encouraged to read. Read, not mug. Read this at home. Whatever we write in the class, minimum thrice a week, the child should read. Why? Because A, we don't speak like that. Okay, you'll never say it's a glorious day. You don't have the time for it. So what happens is when they read it, it becomes natural to them. Then they are taught how to apply it when we are speaking to each other. So when they do that at home, pretend that you don't know it, so that this encourages them to contribute more. Now, when we make the dictionary, they are given mini exercises, like just sentences. So, say Susan was excited and ran fast to buy a delicious ice cream. So, see, they start changing the words. To each his own, all right? If certain words might have three meanings, they might use whatever they are comfortable, but we're not allowed to repeat. So, we try to replace it as much as we can. Yeah? So, they refer the words which they've already. They don't. So what we do is we read it and then you write it. You don't copy it. So while doing this homework, say for example, I forgot what's clapped. They are told that if you forgot, no problem. Go back, read that part again, and then write it. Don't open the book, see the word. Don't encourage that. So what normally happens is, say you're a Tuesday Thursday class. Example. If you've done the dictionary on Tuesday, Thursday you're given this writing assignment. Thursday to next Tuesday you submit it. So we tell them Thursday and Friday read, Saturday sit to write. And obviously, when we're doing this in class, because they are doing it over and over again, they actually get a grip of it. So they don't have to really, really sit and struggle. After we go about with sentences, we apply them in paragraphs. So look, now here they are shown different ways through pictures and videos. It's a story about a girl, she's in water and the other friend is helping her out. So how did this start? So they contribute ideas. Means they went hiking, they went for a picnic. Something has to lead to this. I can't directly jump to the fact that okay, the girl is drowning and the other friend is saving. So here we try to use the weather starter in the second, and then they start applying. Like it was a marvelous day when two gorgeous girls named Sarah, Jessica were going for a splendid hike to a gigantic forest which was full of ferocious animals. Now, why doing this? Because we wrote something pertaining to this before. So they can associate it that if they are going to a forest, what will they see in the forest? They will see animals. Then she is written about the birds chirping. And initial feelings were they were very happy, and then something happened where she fell in the water. One style of working with creative writing is using your starters, the weather elements. Second style is, now again we discussed the boys playing football. So we show them how we can use dialogues also to start a story. That's also an interesting way. Then they go about understanding and applying it. So what is given on top are basic simple interpretations of what they are giving me. That he kicked the ball. So understand. Now if I'm going to kick a ball, it why would it hurt her? Because he kicked the ball hard. So these little things are fed into their minds. And then we show them how we can convert it for something to sound better. Now, the same ideology from a story I can even use in something which is factual or informative. Say I want to just talk about what is a park. Here I can not talk about my weather starters or it was a glorious day. So here I talk about what I can observe. It's a place where people go. You can see swings, you can see slides, and then they are taught how you can apply all this when you are writing. Now, once we get familiar with this concept, then your homework starts alternating. By alternating, I mean One would be a vocabulary application like this. Second would be an OMO. OMO means on my own. On my own involves me sending you all cartoon videos, 3 minutes or so, wherein they watch and then they interpret it on their own. Two would be wherein they'll be given picture and points where they watch and then interpret it on their own. So, for example, look, they had this one write up wherein they had to write about a nightmare. These were the pointers given, and this is what we discussed that, okay, what was the character doing, and then he sees a monster, you describe the monster, what were you feeling about it. Now, here I'm giving you two different uh, write up of two different kids. So, obviously, because it was a nightmare, one child thought of starting with a night, and one child thought of starting with the introduction of a character. So over here, if you see this girl, she writes by saying that the white orb, which is the moon, and the constellation of stars were gleaming like a gemstone. There was a lad named Ram. He was dashing. His hair was as brown as chocolate and as curly as noodles. He was as tall as a tree. Ram was as free as a bird out of his cage and was feeling monotonous as his parents were not at his residence. So he thought to watch a movie. But then this boy has directly spoken about the character. There was a puny boy with a mop of curly hair which was as black as coal. His name was Timmy. Timmy was watching a terrifying horror movie because he was feeling monotonous. His stunning mother and his valiant father had gone out. He had no brother or sister to play like a cub with. He was as lonely as a cloud. So there are two completely different interpretations of what they are writing. So this is where we need to reach, wherein they can play around with their own imagination. This gets structured in many different parts. Now this was a cartoon video about an elephant who escapes from a circus. So their task was to watch the video, but they had to write a letter describing a circus. So my story is completely different. Of course, it's about this boy, his parents take him to the circus, but then it goes on to how the elephant escapes the circus and completely different sidetrack. But again, observe what you need to observe of the circus from that and then apply it in your creative writing. So then this is what he spoke about, how his plan was made to go to the circus, that he was free, he was bored, and then they were going to a circus. Then what were his feelings like? He was elated and enthusiastic. And when he reaches the circus, what did he see? He saw a gigantic tent, and then whatever he's seeing from the video, he's putting it over here in his or her own words. So that is what we mean by creative writing, wherein whatever we write in the book, it's really important that minimum thrice a week they read it, because from there starts developing their individual creativity. Then how they apply to each would be his own. Please be very encouraging. Even if your child in the entire story has written two good words, please pick on that. Don't be like, why have you not used more things? The more you encourage, the more they'll feel like. The more you'll be like, you could have written this also, you could have written that also, the more they wouldn't even want to give you those two words. So, whatever you do, please encourage. The only thing I need from your end is that ensure that whatever we write in the book, they read that. The rest is all between me and the child. Suppose if you for some reason are not able to do the homework, say you have a exam, say you're busy, it's fine. If it's due on Tuesday, you can give it to me on Thursday, but that will be only between me and the parents. I didn't want to tell the kids that because they would just get too relaxed with it, because I'm a little strict where that is concerned. See, what happens is, especially with creative writing, when you're giving a writing assignment based on one thing, if I'm giving it to you on Thursday, you're giving it to me on Tuesday. Say if you're not able to give it on Tuesday, then we try. At the max, give it on Thursday. Thursday, you'll get a new assignment. Once things pile up, it becomes burdensome. And that's what I don't want. The child has to enjoy the process, not, slave through it that so much homework and so much I have to write. And so we try that at least the creative writing part is taken care of. Tuesdays, we normally give grammar because that hardly takes them 5 to 10 minutes to do it. Only Thursdays, we give them the writing task because then you have a gap and it doesn't get overwhelming. So, and of course, I don't have multiple batches. Yeah, each grade has one batch. In case you miss a class, I will send you the recording of that class. Okay, and of course, the material. If the child is not able to understand something, don't worry, it will come back to me. Yeah, Do not help them with any homework. See, my idea is to make them independent. The minute we have outside sources helping them, you'll just toy with the way the child is understanding something. Not two people have the same way to deliver something. Yeah. So that is something. And yeah, say for example, homework is not done, by default the message goes to you. So even if you message me in advance, there's just a default setting. It will go to you that hi so and so, today homework's not done. It's not complaining, it's just for y'all to know okay what's happening, because it's not every time that you might come and pick and drop the child. Also, we have two assessments in a year. One is before Diwali and one is before March. Now look, the reading part I have told you. Try minimum thrice a week the child reads. Before the assessment, all the revision is done in class. There is literally nothing that you have to do. So please don't get hyper that he's not done. I haven't. You don't have to sit with him. The purpose of sending him here is that he should learn how to do things on his or by herself, not with y'all running behind the child. So those after those assessments, we have an open day wherein I'll meet you and we discuss the progress of the child. So my class starts at 8:30 a.m. and we wind up by 8:30 p.m. So if you want to talk to me, you can drop me a message. Either I'll call you in my lunch break or after 8:30 p.m. because in class my phone's on silent. So even if it's ringing, I will have no idea that okay it's ringing. So I'm not going to be ignoring your calls. It's just that I won't be available to talk then. If they harass you with homework, if they're like, no, I'm not going to read, no, I'm not, just tell me. I will drop you a message. Send the child half an hour early, 1 hour early. Let the child sit outside and read or do. Because look, we have to encourage them now. If we don't do that, A, they lose out on what would be easy for them. Till the age of 9, these things are very easy for us. We might be like, oh my god, is he really going to be able to do so much? The child will. We are the one who kind of get hyper and mollycoddle them and then dampen their potential. But this becomes a way of life. If they start talking to you in this manner, then A, you will end up learning a lot, and B, it will just be a very different, personality trait within them to have this come naturally rather than reach a particular age and then struggle with the idea of I can't write or I can't think of what to put and how to go about. Yeah. So also, please drop the child up. No child will be allowed to go down alone. In case if you have someone coming to pick them whom I'm not familiar with, please on the first or second day come up with the child and tell me that okay so and so will come to pick the child up. It's easier that way because they're friends. One child goes, the other follows, and it becomes a little difficult to monitor that way. Unless you don't find parking down and you drop me a message that send the child alone, fine. Kids below 12 are not allowed to use a lift alone. So these are certain things that I would really appreciate if you all cooperate with me in terms of their safety. Yeah. And we begin class on the second Monday of June. The class functions from June to March. We are given a Diwali and a Christmas break. I don't give every holiday like Makar Sankranti and like Shiv Jayanti and all those holidays. Every holiday is not given, so please bear with me. Again, if you miss a class, I will send you the recording of that particular class, and if they don't understand again they can come back to me. But say if you're absent on Tuesday, there's no guarantee that okay Thursday I will explain that to you. It depends on how the class is functioning, but definitely be assured that I'll make sure that the child is at least aware and clarified and clear with whatever he or she has missed. Yeah. Is there anything that you would want to ask or know more pertaining to this? Even if you think about it later, you can drop me a message. Those who came late, I will send you a recording of the orientation so you all can probably pick up the earlier part.
These are all worksheets with grade 3 child, right? So is this towards the beginning or towards the end?
Mix.
Mixed
Yeah,
stage.
like what you saw in the beginning, that's towards the beginning. In the starting, what you saw.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So you have the batch of grade 2 coming to grade 3, right? So they would be little more trained than the new
Yes, they would. But
admissions.
what happens is, so for example, say, so this part is done from grade 1. So whatever you're learning from the age of 5.5, 6, we can't leave it behind. We carry it forward because the biggest part is they come back after a 2 month gap, April and May. So what? And also look, as you keep growing older, it's not that I am bestowed with so many words that I can be free to choose whatever I want. We carry the list forward. So, say for example, you've done these two words, and say there are three more new words you're doing in the year. You'll have a total of five words. So what happens is it's the child's capacity that okay, maybe in the first month we can be familiar with two words. In the second month we can be familiar with two more words. So slowly and gradually the child picks that up. You don't have to worry that, and sometimes if this aspect is taken seriously, a child who's in house, it's not necessary the child who is new can also overtake a child who is, it depends on how he or she is perceiving something. Oh, you can have a seat here on the chair. Oh, we're almost done with the orientation, right? Yeah, but there are different batches. Some of you are morning, some of you are evening batches. Anything else that you would want to know?
Follow any school particular?
Yeah, so the class doesn't cater to any school, so it doesn't go by okay, we're doing nouns, are you doing nouns? No. So the in-depth curriculum you can explore online. The topics are given to you over there. But my class does not go as per
School.
school curriculum.
So if they face any kind of an
With school,
difficulty,
ma'am, I can't help you.
no, no, not like that. Like suppose if school is doing a certain topic, you're doing something else,
No,
and if they
I
face
won't. See,
difficult,
because what happens is that morning batch caters to all afternoon schools. So it does not go by that, okay, if you have this XYZ problem there, and then I would be stepping in to clear that, because if you're not doing that, there'll be no relevance to that. So the class does not cater to your school curriculum or your school assignments as such.
So, otherwise, does it go hand in hand with the school?
See,
What
otherwise,
the school
so
expects
far,
and what
what
you
I
have to
can
do?
tell you is that we're always ahead of what
Yeah.
y'all are doing. Y'all don't even write so much. Just to give you a heads up, the kids will be learning to write a lot.
The grammar part.
Grammar will be very ahead, so that won't be a problem. In general, we'll be very ahead.
Suppose a particular topic explained in the class is not being understood by the
Don't
child.
worry, they'll be given further explanation. And see, even if, say, your child is good in something, say an X topic, and not good in Y, so we assure that there's more practice of Y given. But that practice doesn't mean that the next class you give it to me. Do at least one sheet a month. So I'll try to be flexible by my end. But time is the essence. The more gap we keep in something, the quicker it will be for them to forget. The lesser time period, no, the faster it will be for the child to grow. Look, that happens with us also. They are still too small for that. So try to work, that okay, we keep that time factor in hand. That's why even with homeworks, like I understand once in a blue moon, but if we really try to keep a regularity, it will benefit them immensely. I don't want to make this burdensome because look, somewhere down the line, language will get a little heavy. So to before we reach that stage, if we get into that habit, if we get rid of this teething issue now, the transformation will be easy. For like right now, at least the in-house kids, they're so comfortable and fine with the pattern. Like even if I don't tell them now, Miss Dictionary no homework, it just comes naturally to them that okay, we're so used to it.
so would you be able to share on which month will you be doing what topics?
No, not like that. See,
Said this.
also what happens is, see, ma'am, we go as per the class. It depends on how the batch is picking up a topic well. It's not necessary that, say, y'all are not okay with, say, a particular story writing. Then it's unfair to just skip because, oh my God, I have to finish this curriculum. It's important that whatever you are learning is embedded in your mind. If it's not embedded in the way I'm not happy with the way the output is, then we will spend some more time on that. So it's not going to be like, okay, this month we'll do this, that month we'll do that. It depends on the flow of the class, how we are going about.